Morning, church. How are you guys doing? Comment, let me know what you hear. I can see some numbers, but that's about it right now. So I think, yeah, I'm not getting any notification. Yeah, a little change of scenery today. I made it into the office. Have to had to come in. I left a couple things. If I didn't, we absolutely would have been outside because it's awesome. The weather is just great. Good morning, Don. Good morning, Cheryl. Good morning, Joyce. Good morning, Randall. Good morning, Kathy. It's good to see you guys. Let's shut that off. That's too loud. Well, I mean, it's good to see you guys. I'm glad that you're here. Good morning, Shirley. Hey, just give you a quick update on the twins, and then we will get right into our devotion. Hannah and I had Sonogram Tuesday, and there's still some stuff that they're like watching that it could, like they're just watching and monitoring it. They're gonna monitor it to the point that we're gonna go back again tomorrow. So probably about twice a week we're gonna be able to see our little guys until they get here. So we from Hannah and I, my family, just want to say thank you guys for your prayers in this time. And we do ask that you keep praying for them, praying for those little guys. So we appreciate you guys so much. We love our church family, and you guys are just great. So that's kind of the update. I know it's not a lot of stuff, but that's kind of where we're at. One step at a time. That's kind of been our motto through this. One step at a time, and we're going to take each step in faith and trust Him. All right, let's catch up. Ron and LaFawn, good morning. Mary Kay, good morning. Aubrey, good morning. Cynthia, good morning. Sorry I got on a little bit later. I was going to try to jump on my laptop and do it from there instead of my phone, but it said my camera is not supported by my web browser, so I don't know what all that's about. So we're back on the phone. That's why we're a couple minutes late, so I apologize for that. Okay, we are going to be in Matthew chapter 8. Matthew chapter 8. And now, I know a while ago I told you guys that my reading plan was, just for me, like personally, I'm going to read one chapter out of the New Testament every day and start in the book of Matthew and just work to, the end of Revelation. And that was my plan for a long time. And then about 2 weeks ago, all this stuff with the twins kind of happened. And my plan has just changed a little bit. Instead of, one chapter a day, I've been jumping back and forth on just verses that would fit situations. I've been reading, God's promises that He has to us as individuals. I've been reading, of His peace. I've been reading, and I think I know why. It's what I've been searching for in this time, and honestly, I found it. So I know I kind of walked through Matthew a little bit on devotions, but we're gonna go back and we're gonna talk about this specific event in Matthew chapter 8, verses 23 through 27. This is going to be, when they all get on the boat and there's a big storm and Jesus rebukes the winds and the sea. So that's where we're going to be today, Matthew chapter 8. Let's catch up really quick. Good morning, Sandy. How are you? Blake, good morning. Good morning, Carolyn. So if you guys have turned your Bibles there or scrolled there in on your phone or whatever it is, Matthew chapter 8, verses 23 through 27, it says this. Now when he got into a boat, his disciples followed him. And suddenly a great tempest arose on the sea, so that the boat was covered with waves. But he was asleep. Then his disciples came to him and awoke him, saying, Lord, save us, we are perishing. But he said to them, Why are you fearful, O you of little faith? Then he arose and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm. So the men marveled, saying, Who can this be, that even the winds and the sea obey him? As Hannah and I have been walking through this season in our life, a storm, if you will, and I've been just jumping into the Word, reading promises, like kind of what I just said a little bit. I'm just repeating myself. When I got to this passage in my reading, there's one thing that brought peace to me about this passage. There's one thing that kind of has stuck out to me more than it did last time I read this, and I think it does have to do with what Hannah and I are going through in this storm with our twins. And the thing is, what has brought me peace is in this section of Scripture, we read that Jesus was asleep. Now, I've been known to sleep through some storms, especially that light spring rain. You guys know what I'm talking about? That you just look out the window and you just get tired immediately. And I think we can all relate to that, but that's not what is happening here in this passage. The word translated tempest is the Greek word seismos, from which we get our word seismology. So this storm was a ground-shaking storm. It's interesting because the Sea of Galilee has a very unique geography. So it's actually below sea level, but there's like a 9,000-foot mountain on the north side. So you get this cold wind, you get this warm air, and they collide right on the Sea of Galilee. This geography kind of brings up the point that storms like this, like big, massive storms, can pop up in a matter of seconds. And in recent times, they have actually measured waves on the Sea of Galilee nearly 25 feet tall. Now, we're from the Midwest, so a lot of us probably don't know this, and I only found this out through my study. They do not measure waves on the face of the wave. They actually measure waves on the back of the wave, kind of where it crests. So even though it's a 25-foot tall wave, the face of that wave could almost extend to 40 feet. These storms are massive. We read that the boat was covered in waves and the disciples were fearful even to the point of death. They said, "We are perishing." And Jesus was asleep. Now, I can understand where this could be frustrating. And honestly, I have been frustrated when I feel like I'm in the storm. Whenever I'm going through one of the toughest storms that I've faced in my life, and I feel like Jesus is napping. But I've recently found peace in this fact, though. Because if Jesus is resting, that means that we can too. If he's resting, it means that he's not pacing, he's not anxious, he's not worried. We can rest on his promises. So to fully understand this passage, when he says, you of little faith, we need to go to Mark's account of this. And in Mark 4, verse 35, it says, Jesus had previously told his disciples that they will cross over to the other side. He says, "Come with me and we will go to the other side. We will pass over to the other side." Jesus didn't tell them, "Hey, get in this boat. We're going to make it about halfway. This big storm's going to come and our boat's going to end up at the bottom of the Sea of Galilee." Jesus promised the disciples safe travels. So that's why he would answer back to them, "You of little faith." He's already told them what's going to happen. He's already promised them. He's given them his word. Now, when we are faced with the storms of life, just like the disciples here are faced with this storm, we can also rest on the promises made to us as well. I think I've said this before, but one of my favorite commentators is John Corson, a guy up in Washington, and he put it like this. He said, "It is not the outward circumstances we have to fear, but the inward waves of fear and faithlessness that well up within us. The Lord has given us his word that he will never leave us or forsake us." We read that in Hebrews 13:5. "Therefore, no matter how strong the storm might seem, no matter the force of the waves that beat upon our boat, if we love God and we're called according to his purpose, all things will work together for good." We read that in Romans 8:28. And we also read in Philippians 1:6 that he will complete that which he began in us. And now that's just a very small sample of the promises that God has given us. But even with that small sample of promises, we can be at peace just on those three things. So if you feel like he's asleep, you feel like he's resting, you rest as well, because he's promised good things for us. Finally, one other thing that I love about this passage, I love about this passage and the peace that only Jesus can bring is this: his peace matches our distress. His peace matches our distress. So if you go back in verse 24, it says, "And suddenly a great tempest arose on the sea." So this big storm. Then, you get back down to the end of 26. It says, "Then he arose and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm." Jesus' peace matches our distress. Jesus doesn't just give us enough to just get through your day. He doesn't, put $5 in your gas tank to make it to the end of the day. Whatever that distress is in your life, whatever that storm is, the strength of, the intensity of, his peace will match it. And I've been experiencing that a lot these last 2 weeks. If I'm just being as honest as I can be, it's not always easy, but man, it is so good. And that's what Hannah and I are doing. We're trusting in the promises of God for our life, and it's made this storm a little easier. So church, I just want to challenge you guys to rest in his promises to us and experience that great peace that only he can bring. Again, thank you guys so much for your prayers for my family. We do ask that you continue to lift up the little boys and Hannah, the twins that we're expecting, and Hannah. We love you guys, and God bless.